Hey, family, TACC, man. How's your spirit talking to me? Tell me something good. You hear my voice? I told you yesterday was going. It's going out now. But I'm still gonna give it to y'all. Um, they were talking about God, the creator, not not what you think, but the real creator. A lot of people think the creator is the creator, and it's not true. The creator is the creator, and the created is the created. And God is so good, especially all the things He's done in my life. I can't start to explain all the great things that He's done in my life. Me and a brother was talking. Me and my brother from Detroit was talking tonight, and he always praises me how I speak and how I can help others see light in a positive light. You know, or like my boy Pat was saying, even when I was locked up, I had a positive mental attitude, and that comes from living right and having a good heart. You know, I've I'm a firm believer that when you do right, good comes back to you. I had to learn over time, but going through adversities, like me and the brother that I was talking about, Ghazi from Detroit, we was both in the drug program in Miley, Michigan, in the feds, and he came home and has been working. He caught a DUI, and he called me. And I told him, I said, look, man, you just got to pray. You got to pray, and it's going to work its way out. You ain't been doing nothing, wrong all these years you've been out. So I think he was out like 9, 10 years or something like that or more. And just like I told him, it wound up turning out that way. And hopefully he gonna come on the show later, and then he can explain to you better about the situation. But like I said, with all I've went through, and we was also talking about, going to prison, and we wouldn't change anything that we went through because, see, one thing I'm a firm believer in this: if you change anything that happened to you in your past, you wouldn't be the person you are today. And I really love this person today. Before, I didn't love this person. Now I love this person. So I wouldn't change anything. And the beautiful thing about it, we're going to go through things, but we got to always keep God first. And when we keep God first, life gets better. Trust and believe that, and I know a lot of people can't see it, because they're going through whatever they're going through. And with me, coming home and then getting my own place, but I had to sacrifice 2 years of my life, a year in the halfway house and a year in the shelter. And a lot of people are prideful. They don't want to go to a shelter. They think it's beneath them. And the beautiful thing about it, what's up, Pimpin? The beautiful thing about it, I met a great, like the brother just came on. Gee, Gabriel, the brother is like a son that I wish I would had. His heart is gold. He give you the shirt off his back. Only thing I be getting on him because he's prideful. He don't want to take nothing. He always gives, but he don't want to take. And when I tell him we got to work together till we get to where we need to be, then you can do it like that. But yeah, it's about just living right, doing the right thing. And the reason why I chose the topic I chose tonight, which is God, because He's in charge of everything. And without him, we're nothing. You know, I come here nightly. No question, you my dog, man. I come here nightly to give y'all something, some kind of hope, some kind of experience, some kind of strength so that you can carry on and do the right thing in your life so your life can be better. Like I tell you, even though I'm not where I used to be, I'm in a great place in my life. I have no real worries. I have my own place, which you can see, and I live good. Like I said, you know, yeah, no question. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it, and I can't complain about nothing in life because life is beautiful. Life is beautiful, and all that I've been through and where I'm at now is totally different. Like I am so appreciative of life, especially after going through what I went through last year, 9 shots. You know, and the pain from having to go through 3 surgeries on my hip because I got a half a hip now with a rod and a plate going down my leg. But I still strive. I still keep going, because you can't let things stop you in life because life is too short. I'm not going to live 61 more years. So I have to be able to understand whatever God put me through is for a reason. On that note, that's what I'm going to get into the topic of the day. God makes no mistakes. Understanding there's a God who makes no mistakes, and wherever you are, He put you there. But you must also own your choices. And see, this is one of the things I tell you. Your choices shape your adversities. Your adversities are your lessons that get you to your blessings. And the only way you can get there is you have to go through it. A lot of us would love to live our lives backwards, but we must live it forward so we can get the lessons and the blessings. And I always use this analogy. You got the little kid, you got to tell him hot, hot, hot. Once he touch it and he burn him, he say hot. He ain't gonna touch it no more. But that was an adversity that the baby had to get through, like from crawling to walking, you know. But when it comes to choices, that's when you're older and you have a mind, and you have to be able to say, is this for me or is this not? And then you have a lot of people who don't even care. It's like whatever. But the thing is this right here. There's a God. He sits high and he looks low. He's always watching. And like I tell you guys, this is not a religious program. This is a program. This is a simple program for difficult people. And the program name is this right here. That through adversity come change by me. And this is my book also. It's on Amazon. Check it out. You know, I'm guarantee you'll enjoy it. Um, but yeah, we gotta always make sure that we put God first and we have to make the right choices in life. Because once you get to a certain age, there's no excuses. It's no more peer pressure. It's no more I'm afraid. No. God said there's no room in heaven for coward. So you have to stand up to something sometime in your life, and hopefully it's for your soul. What's one thing you've been blaming God for that might actually be a setup for your growth? I got a bunch of good questions for y'all tonight. And I would love for y'all to respond, just not like, share, subscribe. I would love for you to respond because, the feedback is how we grow. We only can grow through the feedback. We have to interact with each other. You can come on the live or you can type it in. But I would love the feedback. So I have some serious questions for you guys. And I would like to see where your head at. And you see my voice is gone. So, you know, I would love for y'all to speak while I'm kind of, my voice is out. And I'm gonna say the first one again. What's one thing you've been blaming God for that might actually be a setup for your growth? You must ask yourself that. If God makes no mistakes, why do you think He allowed your biggest failure? Think about that for a second. See, what a lot of people don't understand, right? You may see it's a failure, but God sees it as an awakening for you, opening your eyes to show you uh things that you need to work on, how to be stronger, things that I mean, like a lot of times we think it's God punishing us, but it's not. It's God teaching us lessons. And the only way you're going to get the lessons, you got to go through the blessings, and if you don't, you just repeat, you repeat, you repeat. This is why I always tell you guys pay attention. And I like to, like I said, this is not a religious program. I'm not religious at all. I'm just a spiritual brother. And it's an ayat in the Quran, it's Surah 3, ayat 190. And it says, Any fi khalki samawati wal ard waqtilfil layli wa nahari alata lil ulil albab. And what that means is in the creations of the heavens and the earth and the alternations of night and day, there are signs for men of understanding. So it's about using your head for more than a hat rack, thinking, trying to figure out uh different things in life so that you can get better and be better. But the only way you're going to do that is you got to use your head for more than a hat rack. And you got to ask God, why are you putting me through this? What is it you're trying to show me? And this is what a lot of people don't understand. When he puts you through something, he's he loves you first of all. The people he loved the most, he put through the most. And when he's putting you through something, he's trying to make you strong enough to deal with what he has for you in the future. Because say he has something of prominence for you, you know, a multimillionaire, a billionaire, a royal, whatever. You have to be uh prepared for those positions. Those are not positions in life that you can just, because you'll squander. And at this age, I've done all the uh partying, I've done all the getting high, I've done all the clothes and the jewelry, I've done all the cars, I've done that. So that's not even a factor for me. So my thing is to make money to help others. It's about us coming together, doing the right thing so that we can build a society that never second guesses us ever again, never labels us 1/5 of a human being or 3/5 of a human being, or we're lazy when we the ones that built everything and created everything, but build our own. And like every other ethnic group that comes here, build our own. And the people from other ethnic backgrounds who want to be a part of righteousness, everyone is welcome. It's not like, it's just for black. No, it's for everybody who wants to live right and do right and be right. We're all like, y'all got to check out Jane Elliott. Jane Elliott is a white lady, and she tells white people the truth. We are the original people. but somehow we lost our way, and I get it. But we're all one, and we have to start acting like we one. Like she said, you're 50 of 50 cousins, no matter what ethnic background you. Of course, it's only one race, and that's the human race. Unless something else. But it's time for us to start to heal. We can't heal until we come together and formulate a plan, which I have already. I'm just waiting for y'all to come. And I guarantee you, with this plan, we'll never lose ever again in life with anything. It's just like now, what's going on in the world, it's not really affecting black people like that because we're used to this. It's affecting white people, you know, and it's sad because we're all one. But sometimes it comes down to having to be this extreme, just like having Trump back in the White House. We needed this, to show the world what is really going on. And we're going to be all right. Trust me. I watch 10 of the worst presidents of the United States. Andrew Jackson was the first one, the man on the $20 bill. And it goes and it stops at Donald Trump. But the thing is this right here. Sometimes we need that kind of stuff to go on to wake people up. Sometimes we get lazy. And this is time for change. And it's only through adversity change takes place. A lot of people want to say revolutionize, but no, change. That's all that is change. But that's given a persona of violence. You don't have to be violent to do what you have to be intelligent. You have to be intelligent. Like I said, you have to use your head for more than the hat rack. Signs and symbols for the conscious mind. Just like they study us, we have to study them. And that's what I did when I was away for them 28 years. And it's not like they that great. It's just that they have the power and they have the deception, and they have the help of the shaitan. So, it's real. But we have to keep God first. Write down one decision you made that led you to your current struggle. No excuses. You know, these are the things that we have to question ourselves about so we can grow. You know, we can't grow if we don't challenge each other, because steel sharpens steel. And if I'm a bullshitter, you have to be able to call me on my bullshit and vice versa, and vice versa. And this is what we don't have. We have yes men, running things, men who are really cowards in life. But, you know, this it's crazy. Let me get back to this. When you hear God is driving the car, does that make you feel safe or frustrated? And why? Like I said, wherever you at in life, he put you there because he's driving the car and he makes no mistakes. He don't make wrong turns. He's better than GPS. So wherever you at, that was already punched in the computer to take you exactly where you're supposed to be. And the car is not a physical car. The car is the car is um how would you say, a figment of speech, because it's more of a physical and emotional place you're at, if you understand what I'm saying. Name a time you tried to take the wheel from God, and what happened? Every time I tried to take the wheel from God, I wound up in prison, every time. And the beautiful thing about it, like they say, some people get it early, some people get it late, some people never get it. I'm just happy I got it late. Of course, it didn't have to be that way. You know, I've had quite a few situations where, like I said, I didn't think I was going to live to 25, but God had better, different plans. And I'm happy that his plans was better than mine, you know, because I was a young fool and not in, like a violent way, but, you know, in the streets getting money and getting high and, throwing my Johnson on the crap table every night with different broads and all kind of stuff, and that was the age of AIDS and herpes, and thank God I never got them. I've been burnt a lot, but I never got the serious, and I thank God for that. And that lets me know that He was always looking out for me. And like I said, I may have found him in prison, but that's where I was supposed to find it. A lot of people say, "Oh, you went to jail." Yeah, that's where you really find him at if you're looking, because you go into here. You go into here. Once you go within, you will find him. And you realize in life, man, all the things that you shorted yourself out of, by not no question. Ain't no question it's pimping, so yeah, a lot of people don't want to, but like it goes back to them being comfortable with being uncomfortable. You got to become uncomfortable with being uncomfortable so you can be comfortable with being comfortable. But the crazy part is, like, people going to be people until they hit their bottom, or till God enlightens them, like he's done me and others. They're going to be stuck, and it's sad. Like I just said earlier, some people get it early, some people get it late, some people never get it. I'm just happy I got it late. Name a time you tried to take the wheel from God, and okay, I just said that one. What would change in your life if you fully believe that nothing happens by accident? Ask yourself these questions. What would change in your life if you fully believe that nothing happened accidentally? Meaning, like, everything is destined. It happens for a reason. And this is what I tell you, man. God makes no mistakes. So everything he does is for a reason behind what he does. And you have to understand where he's trying to show you, what he's trying to do for you. Because God loves each and every one of us. He wants all of us with him. But if you choose the devil, he loves you that much to let you go. It's on you then. And the crazy part, the devil is going to forsake you because he knows he's afraid of God. Is there any area where you are secretly? Is there any area where you secretly think God owes you an apology? That's when a person is kind of mentally out of there. You know, um, that's when they feel they're entitled and stuff like that. But hopefully it's not a lot of people like that, but it probably is. Accept responsibility. What's one hard truth about yourself you've been avoiding? Ask yourself, you know, and see, this is a part of starting to be honest with yourself. This is why I'm giving you all these questions, putting this together so you can understand life better, because you have to seek knowledge. It's just not gonna fall in your lap. And when you pay attention to life, that's a part of seeking knowledge, because you're attentive. If God makes no mistakes, then your past trauma isn't a mistake either. How does that hit you? Just think about that. You were where you were supposed to be. Just like last year, I was where I was supposed to be. When I got shot, wasn't no mistake. You know, and I accepted that. See, a lot of people can't accept that even when things bad happen, you play a part in it, and you have to accept the fact that, man, I make some bad choices at times, or I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, or I was at the wrong place at the right time because God is showing me something. It might have been saving you from something worse. You never know. What what's a mistake you made that later turned into a gift? Ask yourself that. That's a deep question. What mistake? No, what's a mistake you made that later turned into a gift? And see, when you start asking yourself these kind of questions, life starts to unfold for you because you start to be honest with you. You have to be honest with you. You definitely have to be honest with God, but more importantly, than anything, you have to be honest with you. And when you're honest with you, man, life is better. Oh yeah, Scotty, the joint that we copy and paste with the all the information where you can. I don't know. I hit something, it went off. I tried to bring it back, but I don't know how to bring it back. You got to call me later and tell me how to do it. All right. It's my engineer right there. Bad boy. Got you. Got you. Okay. Rate your surrender level 1 to 10. What would it take to get you to 10? Meaning surrender, doing the right thing by God and living life right. How close are you, or how far are you from 10? And what would it take to get you there? What adversity you think might make you really get there? Who is one person you need to stop blaming for where you are? A lot of times, a lot of people do that. And see, I know where I'm at is because of what I've done. Even the choices I made, dealing with the guys I dealt with who wound up putting me in jail, that was meant to be. You see, you got to understand, when you understand life, when things happen to you, they're meant to happen. And when you make it out of them and you learn from them, that's the lesson and the blessing. Like I say, your choices shape your adversities. Your adversities are your lessons to get you to your blessings. So that's your adversities getting you to your blessings. When you get something out of, like me and the brother was talking earlier, and we were seeing, like, man, we wouldn't change anything in the world for what we went through, because he did a nice number. He did over 10, and or more. And like I said, I wouldn't change anything. Of course, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I love who I am today. I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys like I'm talking to you guys if I wasn't the person I am today. Like I tell you, I used to have low self-esteem, kind of shy. Now, it's what it is. Like I tell you, I went to the trauma thing, and in the auditorium, I kind of like took over, and it felt good, like to get up in front of a big audience and speak. and not be afraid. And it was beautiful, and I had a very good receptive greeting from everyone. So you have to go through these things in life, and you can't beat yourself up because these are the things that help shape and mold you to who you're supposed to be in life. It gets greater later. You just have to understand that things are going to happen in life, but you must be able to deal with it and get to where you need to be in life. And it just doesn't come all like that. It takes time, right? Write a short prayer that starts, God, I know you make no mistakes, so help me see what. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to help y'all to heal because y'all not coming in to do the program. The program, I guarantee you, it's gonna blow your mind. Also, if you get the book, it's the book, Rich Coma, Through Adversity Come Change. I'm not playing. And it's on Kindle, Through Adversity Come Change too. You can get the book. But the whole thing is, man, you got to ask yourself these questions. This is how you grow. This is how you win in life. You got to challenge yourself. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream, and you got to understand that. Like I said, write a short prayer that starts, God, I know you make no mistakes, so help me see what. What do you need to see in life to make you make changes in your life to be better and do better? Ask yourself that. you know, because when you're by yourself, you can be yourself. It's when you're around people, you're gonna be somebody else. Yeah, that's all that comes to a sleep or dream. What's the difference between accepting God's plan and being passive? Ask yourself these things. You know, these things are to help build you, make you stronger. Have you ever used God's will to avoid owning your own laziness or fear? And we've all done that. And see, when you heal and you at peace, you don't make excuses no more. You know what has to be done and you do it. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. Like you have to find your lane in life. That's why I tell you, the third principle is five principles, three articles, one healer. The program called TACC, Through Adversity Come Change. The healer's helping everyone accept, achieve, and appreciate love. Right? But the third principle, I always say is the most important, embracing your journey. A lot of people don't understand that they have a journey. And if you think you don't, you're one out of billions of sperm cells that made it. You beat billions or hundreds of millions of sperm cells to that egg. So it's a reason you're here. You fought to be here. You ran to be here. You raced to be here. So find your purpose. When you find your purpose, I was just listening to Dr. Dre saying, I wound up doing this. And, if I was a plumber, I'd have still been doing this. But it's just luckily I was able to make money at something I love to do. This man is a billionaire now. Being able to do what you love to do is the greatest gift that God could ever give to you, especially if you keep him first while he gives you that blessing. Now, if you forget him and you get that blessing, then you got to deal with that. But if you do the right thing and keep him first, man, the sky's the limit. I feel success just doing the things I've done already, and I haven't made a penny, but it's coming, inshallah. List two things. you're grateful for that came directly from a past mistake. You want me to say that again? List two things you're grateful for that came directly from a past mistake. Think about that for a minute. You know, because these questions are deep. These questions make you think. You're not going to just no. These questions make, and then if it makes you think, it's gonna question your heart. And if it ever touch your heart, it's gonna spark something in your brain. And then when it sparks something in your brain, you're gonna want to make change. Get a poet that don't even know it. If you met your 10-year younger self, what would you tell them about responsibility? That's a deep one right there. If you met your 10 years back self, what would you tell them? What emotion comes up first when you say out loud, I'm where I am partly because of me? That's called accepting your responsibilities, knowing that even though he's saying partly, because you play a part and God plays a part. So God is putting you where you need to be, but what you done got you to where you need to be, if that makes sense. Share a quote about accountability that hits hard. These things, you got to do. What's one area where you're still fighting God's navigation? Only you can answer that. You know, what's one area where you're still fighting God's navigation? And it's crazy, right? Because the more you fight, the more you lose. It's like going in quicksand. The more you fight, the more it pulls you down. The more you fight, the more it pulls you down. And the crazy part about that is uh once you give in, you start to float. Let go and let God. He got you. He makes no mistakes. Does that apply to your divorce, your bankruptcy, your health? Explain. You know, responsibility. Once again, we must take responsibility for our lives and the things that we've done and things that we do. And the only way that we can navigate life is face it head on. But we have to be 100% real with ourselves. If we're not real with ourselves, we can never make it to nowhere. Trust me. And it's funny, right? Me and my brother Gaz, and he was saying like, how you got guys that uh they've been hustling for years. They don't hardly ever go to jail, but they never make it to where they get no real money. Like how I've gotten and other guy, like the guy I was talking to. And it made me think. And he was like, yo, the people who go the extra mile are the ones who take the chances and make choices to do what needs to be done. Those are the ones that really win. And it made sense to me. Because like I said, after getting shot 9 times last year, I wrote a book, got a Kindle on Amazon as well as a book. And now I'm doing podcasts. You can't make this up, man. This is about growth and development, doing the right thing, living right, doing right. Period. And it's a beautiful thing. When you understand that, a lot of people don't get it, but one day you will, inshallah. What would you do differently today if you truly believe God timing is perfect? Think about that one. What would you do? Name one regret that still controls your mood. Now ask, I don't know what that was. Um, what would you do differently today if you truly believe God timing is perfect? I said that one. Name one regret that still controls your mood. Now ask, whose fault is it today? And see that's not a hard question when you're accepting responsibility. You know right away, who's anything that I'm going through, I'm going through at this time, at this age, it all it's me. Whether it's good or bad, it's me because I make all the choices with my life. I don't care what nobody else says. I make my choices, and I live with it. That's it. And that's the things that you have to do. How can responsibility be freeing instead of shameful? Write one sentence confession starting with I used to think, but now I see. Just think about that for a second. Name one regret that still controls your mood. No, no, that's not it. No, that is it. Oh no, that's where I was at right there. Write one sentence confession starting with I used to think, but now I see. Told you my eyes, man. My eyes is getting rough. And then being dyslexic is even worse. But I'll be all right. What's the biggest lie you've believed about God's role in your adversity? Say that again. What's the biggest lie you've believed about God's role in your adversity? If God never makes mistakes, then what is he trying to teach you right now? If you're in a precarious place in your life or you're going through something or whatever, you have to ask yourself these questions. I'm so grateful, to be where I'm at in my life and be able to do the things that I do. I have no uh real questions for God because I know he got me. And this is where you have to be, whereas you content wherever you has you at. I'm not saying be comfortable with being uncomfortable because I'm not uncomfortable, you know, but being content with whatever he gives you and not being ungrateful for what he's given you. And a lot of people are ungrateful, you know, and I can give you a list, but for what? Doesn't even matter. You know, life is too short, to have regrets. I thank God, for putting me through everything that He's put me through, man. I can tell you some stories, and you will hear them one day, inshallah. But I've lived a crazy, crazy life, and it's been a ride. Trust and believe that. It's been a ride. A lot of people ain't survived the things that I've survived, and that's real. And that's coming from a dude that'll tell you, man, I'm not no tough guy. I ain't no gangster, but I survived. What's one small action you can take today to own your part without self-hatred? Think about that. Let me see if I can get my boy Ghazi on. I think he's out on a date. Let me see. Let me go up right here. See if he gonna come in. And let's see if he gonna come in. He might not. I don't know. Show must go on. Share this with someone who needs to hear you. Your past choices don't disqualify you, but denying them will keep you stuck. You have to be able to understand that even though in life, right, you're going to go through things, but you can't deny the things that you go through because these are things that help you to understand. These are your adversities. These are the things that shape and mold your mind so that you can be better, that you can do better. Because it's only through your adversity change takes place. Change doesn't take place no other kind of way. You know, wisdom comes in chaos. It doesn't come in peace. You got to go through it to get to it. And what a lot of people don't understand is that everything he makes, he takes care of. You just have to understand. We're gonna go through some things in life, and life is not easy. And you just got to make good choices. At the end of the day, say it loud. God, you make no mistakes, and I accept responsibility for my peace. And that's real. You have to be able to accept responsibilities for your peace. No one else is going to. And and one thing that I've learned, right? It's a beautiful thing, man. Going through life's ups and downs, knowing that no matter what, you know, uh, he got you. It might be a little tough right now. It might be a little difficult, but he got you. And you always seem to make it out when you thought there was no out. You know why? Because he got you. God don't make mistakes. This is the things that people got to understand. And he's in control of everything in the universe. I mean, I'm gonna give you a small scenario. Just think of your skin. How your skin has hair growing out it has pores that open up when it get wet and close when it's dry. If you get cut or bruised, it heals itself. Um, just a fascinating thing that God made that. I'm gonna give you another example. You got fish that live at the top part of the water, and then you got fish that live at the bottom. The ones at the bottom have no pigment. They're translucent. They don't have eyes, but it's the same fish at the top. You can go on Earth, look at the animals on Earth, and if you go deep into the Earth, you'll see those same animals with that are translucent, no eyes. And God knows exactly where everything on this earth. You got quadrillions of mites in the air right now, all over everything. They have a whole world of their own, and God knows exactly where all of them are at and where they everything about each and everything. So God knows everything, and you have to understand that. This is why it doesn't make sense trying to play like you can trick God. You may be trick yourself or others. You can't trick him. He knows everything. Everything is written. He know what you're gonna do before you even think it. So the thing is, embracing your journey, doing the right thing, and know that no matter what, God gonna take care of it if you do what you do right thing. Like I tell the brothers, the Muslim brothers, make your 5 prayers a day. That's your contract you made with God. And if you have another faith, make sure you get on your knees and give him his. Or lay down or however you give it to him. Just give it to him. That's how you win. That's how you win by living right and doing right, no matter what. And it's a beautiful thing, man, just to be able to be here with you guys, especially after, like I said, what I went through last year. And it's not that deep, that uh I would, be mentally disturbed. But no, shit happens. And when you've lived this life this long, you understand that. That you got to keep pushing. You can't stop. You can't let you know stuff hold you back. You got to keep pushing. And I was just born like this. I had a mother that was like this. And you just got to keep going. But yeah, it's only through adversity change takes place. And like I tell you guys, the name of this program, platform, podcast, whatever you say, it's called TACC. Through adversity come change. This is my book that's on Amazon. You can get it. Guaranteed to change your life. And the beautiful thing about it is everybody knows that. It's only through adversity change takes place. You got to go through your adversities to grow. You have to. And you got to understand that God is in charge. He may let you rock a little bit, but he's in charge, you know? And when he sees fit to give you something, he gives it to you. When he doesn't, it's for a reason too. We got to understand sometimes if he give you something, it might be to your own demise. I say like this, you know, if God would have gave me everything that he's going to give me in life when I was young, I would be dead. Of course, I was reckless, you know, and you got to come of age to understand that. When you get older, you say, man, yeah, I was off the hook. You got to understand that I come up in the era, the rich poor, the AZ era, and I had a big crew. I had 13 spots, 4 in Brooklyn and 9 in Harlem. And it was only by God's grace that I didn't get killed or OD and die, even though I did OD, but they brung me back. It was only by the grace of God, and this him showing me that I realize now. God was showing me, look, man, I'm putting you through these things, but it's to build you to make you strong enough to deal with anything. You'll be able to deal with anything. I'm going to make you strong enough to deal with anything. So when you do get yourself financially right, you'll be able to deal with anybody on any level because you're going to be prepared. And I respect that. Only God can do stuff like that. And I know He got my back. That's what's most important. I know He got my back. He's shown me in so many ways. And I respect that and I thank Him for it. And I just want you guys to one day be able to embrace your journey and live right, do the right thing by Him, you know. And I guarantee your life gonna be a lot better, a whole lot better, you know. Like I said, it's only through adversity change takes place. You gotta go through it to get it, you know. But I was waiting for my brother Ghazi to come in. I'm gonna try him one more time. If not, I'm out of here. Yeah, he probably still in the restaurant. Probably got he on a date, I think. But yeah, yeah. So we had a good one today. And that was the blessing. But I'm fin. I'm going to call it a night. You guys have a blessed one. Just know that it's only through your adversity change takes place. And you got to put God first in everything. Of course, He makes no mistakes. No question. You have a good one too, my brother. Love is love. Through adversity comes change. Get your spirit right with God and watch how everything work its way out. Peace. Y'all have a good night. TACC man out.